gray uniforms known as Roswell Gray. And here is one of their grand manor houses. Even the toys taught the children the difference between their happy lives and the lives of those they owned. But to find the original source of their wealth, you have to travel to the humid Savannah coast. Georgia's plantation system was created by the first governor of Georgia and Kemp's family, James Habersham. Habersham became one of the wealthiest men in the South by transforming agriculture. That is, he was first to import captured Africans into Georgia. Sales boomed, even when some of his products committed suicide or died of smallpox on the slavers' ships.
We've been brought up thinking that slavery was always just here in Georgia. That just ain't so. In fact, until just before the Revolutionary War, slavery was against the law because churchgoers like these fought a fierce, bloody battle to prevent slaves from coming to Georgia.
The horrified local farmers who attended this church unanimously petitioned the king to stop the importation of enslaved people. They wrote, "It is shocking to human nature that any race of mankind and their posterity should be sentenced to perpetual slavery." Thomas Jefferson, although a friend of the Habershams, threatened their human trafficking business. Here, at the Habersham Savannah mansion, Jefferson wrote a draft of the Declaration of Independence, including a long passage that denounced the slave trade. Slavery is a war against human nature itself, violating its most sacred rights of life and liberty by captivating and carrying Africans into slavery and miserable death. It was the only passage of the Declaration removed by the Continental Congress on the demand of the Georgia delegation, headed by Joseph Habersham. A British visitor, Fanny Kemble, wrote in her diary about the cruelty she witnessed by the notorious slaver, Kemp's ancestor, Roswell King.
The handcuff, the lash, the tearing away of children from parents, of husbands from wives, the labor of body, the despair of mind, the sickness of heart. These are the realities which belong to the system in this country of yours which boasts itself the asylum of the oppressed, the home of freedom.
Ultimately, the families were sold in the largest auction of humans in history. It is remembered today by their great-grandchildren as weeping time. Griffin Lotson directs the Geechee Gullah ring shouters. They preserve their Gullah language and songs from Africa's rice coast, and they brought rice planting technology to the South.
Wow.
Lotson's great-grandmother was sold at the Weeping Time auction.
The phrase that they call weeping time came from the largest slave trade in America's history. Most of those enslaved came from right here on Butler Island.
There's a defiant purpose in preserving this plantation and songs of his Gullah Geechee heritage.
If you suppress the history, you suppress the vote. Yeah, I know a lot about the voter suppression firsthand.
City Councilman Lotson would have been commissioner, but ballots were suspiciously disqualified.
And I lost by one vote.
Oh.
One vote. So you can't just talk about somebody, you know somebody that you're standing with now that have lost an election by one vote.
So how do you say vote suppression in Gullah Geechee?
Oh, vote suppression. My mother would say, there's a dead cat on the line when it comes to voting, which the meaning of that is that something's not right.
So Palace headed to Savannah, where tourists drank cocktails at the riverboat dock. But underneath, you'll find the hidden storage cells where the Habershams kept Africans for auction. At the Georgia Historical Society, Palace met with an expert on the origin of dead cats on the line.
And so a central political issue of Reconstruction was, will black people, black men, be given the right to vote? The Klan originally came about as sort of the military arm of the Democratic Party. It was there to suppress voters. It wasn't just there to carry out intimidation against black people who used to be slaves. You know, they would pull a man out of his bed and say, we heard that you plan to vote. Is that true? Well, yes, and he might be whipped to within an inch of his life. It was really about suppressing the vote more than just intimidating.
After the Civil War, it wasn't only the Klan that meted out vigilante justice. Our modern vigilante tells us about his hero, Doc Holliday.
He was a very educated and kind of a classy guy. One of the things that happened, they liked to go to swim and found out there was about 5 or 6 African-American boys down there swimming, and it really upset John Henry, so he got a shotgun and ran them off. And of course, part of the story is he ran them off with a shotgun. The other story is that he killed a couple of them.
Major Turner, if you could pull up a chair. So tomorrow you're gonna meet this guy.
He doesn't know he's gonna meet you. He doesn't know he's at your house. The house he says you don't live at and that you don't vote from. He doesn't know anything except that he's gonna do his little Southern shtick. But then he'll meet you. What would you hope? What would you hope would happen when you meet this man?
Simple. I'm sorry. I did not fully understand the impact of what I was doing. Whether it's voting or a challenge like that, or whether or not it's someone coming in our churches and killing our people, we have to be the ones to do the forgiving.
I take it you've never been in this house before. If you met Mr. Turner, Major, before?
All right, no sir, never have, but I'm glad to meet him today.
You had filed some challenges to 4,000 voters.
Yes.
Yeah, and including, by the way, you have challenged the right to have Major Turner's ballot counted.
I don't know what that means.
Well, did you send a note to any of those people?
No, I did not.
I'll ask you a question. Here's Major Turner. Did you contact Major Turner and tell him,
no, I did
listen,
not.
I'm challenging your vote?
No, I did not.
My country called and asked me to go help them out in California. I've not missed any opportunities to vote. Okay. From 1996, since I've been here, up until this last election.
Do you want to apologize to this man for what he went through?
I don't. What I will do, Major, I apologize for the problems that you had. I don't know how I can apologize for the process because obviously I don't understand the complete process. So I don't know how I can apologize for that.
The law says we have to vote. Nobody said you had to count the vote. Or my vote counted. It's the same. I just go through the process. I or none of my people have any assurance that that vote was actually counted.
The issue was black voting. Whites figured out that there were other, less violent ways to achieve the same ends. And the 15th Amendment, which expressly forbid anyone being kept from voting because of their color. Well, how do you get around that? Later in the Jim Crow period, of course, you've got the infamous jelly bean jar. If you were able to guess how many jelly beans are in the jar, then you can vote. When white people come in to register, you never ask them for their poll tax receipt. You don't ask them to read the Constitution. That's exclusively done to black people.
The 15th Amendment's protection of black voting rights came to an end when in 1876, Southern white Democrats cut a deal with Northern Republicans to have Congress overturn the presidential election.
When the election of 1876 took place, the eventual winner, who was Rutherford B. Hayes, who was a Republican, was behind in the popular vote, and he was also behind in the Electoral College. So competing slates of electors, Democrats and Republicans, it was going to be up to Congress to decide which of those was legitimate.
The election came down to one man, as it would a century and a half later.
And this man was going to single-handedly decide who the president was going to be. We saw Mike Pence in that situation recently, who said one man shouldn't decide the presidency.
I need to speak to you for a second.
Okay.
You're not going to believe this. It's insane. It's crazy. They heard the word Mike Pence. They stopped the whole interview. They said, we can't film. And they said, you know, we got to protect our new corporate donors on our board.
Welcome to the 2022 Trustees Gala.
We're especially grateful for the support of Chick-fil-A, the Home Depot Foundation,
a who's who of Georgia's corporate elite, whose histories are protected by the Georgia Historical Society.
Georgia Power. That's the company where I did an investigation of racketeering, political bribery and corruption, and suspected murder. Nice guys. So this is the guy.
Yeah, got to protect them. The CEO of Georgia Pacific.
You know, that's Koch Industries, Koch brothers.
Ladies and gentlemen, to induct the 2022 Georgia Trustees, please welcome...
Oh, God.
And here's the man who appointed them all.
The Honorable Brian Kemp.
Governor Brian Kemp is preparing to sign a number of bills into law that will impact every student across the state.
Yeah, it does a few things here. It would speed up the process to ban books, make it easier to...
Bill 1084 bans the teaching of divisive concepts. It ensures all of our state and nation's history is taught accurately.
The dynasties that have ruled Georgia are not about to give up their rule. It's about their power and their privileges. And they're not going to let voters take it away. And they're prepared to stop those voters by any means necessary.
Law enforcement is going to the houses and places of employment and making people afraid to go out and exercise their rights.
Open and clear, we have a visual. Repeat, we have a visual.
And today to come out and not be able to vote, it bothers me to my core.
Whose vote? My vote, not his.
We're seeing, Civil War Part 2.
Time to do something. Time to do something. If we don't get it back in November.
The good news is that there's a new South rising. There is a new South rising. We're building a base of people who actually believe in America that is more just and more equitable, that is literally going to make a shift.
We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom. Let my people go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water, children wade in the water.
I got to see some of the worst and ugliest aspects of America, at the same time some of the greatest. I got to see people that had nothing eventually have something. I got to see what Martin said when he said little black boys and little white girls walk hand in hand together. They're getting married now. The face of our nation, the thought process is changing. Yes, there are those that resent this, but that too shall pass. We just have to know that as a nation, we're stronger and better than all of that.
Water used to come through here high, real high. They would throw blacks over here. I do believe that the spirits is crying out for justice from the grave. I said, when I grow up, I would like to come here and try to dig up those bones of those black folk and give them a proper burial.
But spirits drowned will rise. Georgia is a haunted house, and Governor Kemp has gone to war with its ghosts. The ghosts of Georgia's history, the ghosts of his own family's history. Until Georgia, until America hears these spirits, neither they nor we will be set free.
If I can and they let me, I will vote.
From the